Welcome to the Produce Moms Podcast, where we believe there is a produce mom in all of us. I'm Lori Taylor, founder and CEO of the Produce Moms. For 10 years, I sold fresh produce to over 300 grocery stores in the U.S. And today, my team and I are fully focused on inspiring people to eat more fruits and vegetables. This show is just one of the ways that we hope to inspire you and your family to eat more produce and live a better life. If you like what you're hearing on the podcast, join our community of almost 40,000 in all 50 states and over 30 countries by visiting theproducemoms.com/subscribe. And be sure to subscribe and leave us a review on iTunes. Thanks for being here. Enjoy today's show. Happy Earth Day, everyone. Welcome to the Produce Moms Podcast. My name is Lori Taylor. I am so proud to be your host. And today I am so proud to welcome our guest. This woman is a true expert on all things sustainability. She is one of our industry's top thought leaders in this space. We are welcoming Janis McIntosh. She is the Director of Marketing, Innovation, and Sustainability for our dear brand partners at Naturipe Farms. Janis, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Lori. I'm very excited to be here with you today.
Thank you. Happy Earth Day, and thank you for all that you've taught me about being a more sustainable consumer and steward to Mother Earth.
Oh, you're very welcome. I'm very excited to be here and explain some of the things that we're doing.
Great. So at a high level, Janis, for folks that have missed some of our other promotions of Naturipe Farms, please tell us briefly about Naturipe and shed a little light on your role.
Okay. I've been at Naturipe for 15 years. Naturipe is over 100 years old. It started in 1917 to support the local growers, and still today it supports local growers, but in South and North America, it's expanded to different areas of the country and the United States. And our local growers bring their product to your local supermarkets. We grow strawberries, raspberries, blackberries, blueberries, cranberries, avocados, and we grow organic and conventionally.
Wonderful. So, and tell us a little bit more about your role, what it means to be the Director of Marketing, Innovation, and Sustainability at Naturipe. What are you really, your contribution at your desk? How is that driving Naturipe Farms forward?
Well, in my role, I have done primarily packaging, and it's kind of morphed over the years due to some of the sustainability initiatives going on in the industry. So last year they gave me a new hat to wear, which was sustainability, because I get on my soapbox all the time and I'm telling everybody about plastic and all these different things. So they gave me that hat to wear, which has been great for me. And so when I say I've been doing packaging, we've been developing new ideas through the years. This is a very innovative company. The leadership is open to change. I've thrown so many different things at them through the years. And a few things luckily have stuck. And again, it's packaging. That's my jam.
Yeah, no, and you really are. You're the best. For all of our listeners, whenever there's a panel in our industry at a trade event and they're resourcing, leadership or innovators, the movers and shakers of the packaging world, Janis is usually on stage. So, in honor of Earth Day today, one thing that you just mentioned, Janis, were the collective movements that are happening in our industry. I would love for you to tell us more about something that is the leadership coming out of the berry category for the initiative Berry Sustainable. Let's please educate our listeners today on what that movement is all about and the way that you are coalescing really with even direct competitors on this very important movement.
Yes, in my career, this has been the most exciting thing that I have been participated in. It's basically, I'm going to give you a little background about strawberries and blueberries and the packaging that they've been in historically. Many of you have remembered back years ago, the little green baskets that strawberries were in, and there was a little paper crates that blueberries were in. Well, over the years, particularly around the 90s, they started implementing a new type of packaging, which we call the clamshell. It's the clear plastic PET package. And that changed, it revolutionized the berry category for us and for consumers, because a lot of things went away that were bad things. Food safety issues with people touching berries and food waste. We lost so many berries because of those little green baskets. So the clamshells came into effect, like I said, around the 90s, and the category's grown. You see more and more out there, and people start to get a little worried about plastic. Well, I wanted to give you a little history about how well the strawberry category has done with that plastic clamshell. It has been the poster child for plastic recycling. The content of that package, in some cases, is up to 100% post-consumer content. Water bottles, things that are made out of PET that have been recycled. That has been, when you go to purchase that clamshell, it's not a new virgin, what we call virgin plastic. It is it's made recycled content.
Wow. I actually didn't even know that, Janice. So thank you for sharing.
You're welcome. And so this has been something we've been very proud of, and maybe haven't done a good enough job explaining to consumers. But what's happened recently with the plastic, negative plastic things going on in the press, people don't realize that part of the issue is that our recycling infrastructure is broken in a lot of cases. There's great companies out there that are building new facilities like Our Planet Earth, which I know you did a podcast with, and different companies that are building new innovative technologies to recycle different types of plastic. But there was still an issue with what we thought we were doing a great job in with this recycled content. Was there was a problem with the label, the paper label. And it was causing issues at the recycling level because the paper label wasn't coming off the PET cleanly. And then when it did, it would muck up the water in the wash tank, all these different things. And so we reached out to the recycling industry and said, what can we do? We want our clamshells not only to be made of recycled content, we want consumers to recycle them, and we don't want them to put them into the blue bin outside their house, and they get to the recycling company and they're throwing them in landfill.
That's right. Because actually that's as much of a barrier to our industry and household quest to being better, more sustainable consumers. Is there's a lot of stuff going into those blue catch-all recycling bins that are they're just adding unnecessary cost and labor at the recycling plant. I mean, I've learned that from hosting this show.
Yes, it's horrifying. If you ever get a chance, like our local one, I called and they gave me a tour. You go there and it's horrifying because the things that people put in there that are not recyclable is crazy. First of all, it's like, what were they thinking? And the second is what you think is recyclable is not. So we did our research. Sure. Yeah, it was great. We did our research. We talked to the right people, the Association of Plastic Recyclers, APR. They represent all the recyclers in the country. They told us what we needed to do, and it was a very simple change. Basically, what we did was we're doing what the water bottle companies did about 10 years ago. We're moving away from a paper label and putting a plastic label on the clamshell, and the adhesive is changing, which will allow that label to come off the clamshell really easy in their wash cycle, the recycling wash cycle, and it's lighter than PET, so it floats to the top of the tank, and they skim it off.
Wow.
So that's so it's amazing. So we're doing that, and so what Very Sustainable, the website, explains this, and the industry got together and made a commitment. All the competitors, everybody agreed. They're like, no, we have to do this. Agreed that we would have this type of label on everything by 2025. Now we're hoping it's going to be
So collectively, you've created a new standard then.
Yes, we have.
Hand in hand with your competitors, hand in hand with regions that you might compete with from a production perspective. Exactly. Every single person that is in the business of selling berries in the United States is uniting under this sustainable mission.
And we had to. Can you imagine a MRF, which is the material recovery facility? They call them MRFs. If we didn't all do it at the same time, they'd be like, okay, Naturipe, that's recyclable, but this one's not. You can't do that. It's not going to move. No, you all have to do it. So then when the recycling companies see that clamshell and they see that it was a berry clamshell, they know that is recyclable.
Right. Oh, it's amazing.
Yeah,
it's amazing. So So you said, what was the date you said that Berry Sustainable committed to?
2025. But
Okay.
I think that we're just the energy that's going on within the industry. I think we'll be able to beat that date. But what we have to worry about is a lot of these growers, they have, inventory. So we have to make sure we get through the inventory. So as we get through inventories, and we're also at the same time, we're also testing new suppliers because everybody's coming up to the plate saying, hey, I have one that'll work. But we have to make sure it doesn't come off in the cold chain between the time it leaves our warehouse and it gets to this.
That's right.
We don't want them popping off because they're just too good.
Yeah. I mean, consumers have to keep in mind that produce is transported and warehoused and stored. Obviously we try to make that window as tight as possible from field to fork or field to retail shelf. But at the end of the day, the packaging medium has to hold up in a cold, wet environment.
Exactly.
It just does. And so that's what Janice is talking about here with, one reason this can't be something that you do overnight is because you have to make sure you have to test, all of the new remedies and materials and whatnot. So
exactly. Very well put.
Yeah. Well, okay. So I think it really goes without saying, one other critical learning that I've had from hosting this show and bringing on so many of your colleagues in the sustainability world, Janice, is the fact that, and I think this is more just like a call out and a statement of gratitude to the berry industry. As you just explained, the clamshells you all use oftentimes are, 100% post-consumer recycled plastic. That right there, that is a critical learning that I've had. We have to continue to seek out, as consumers, you have to seek out products that are packaged with 100% recycled materials.
Yeah. One of the things that's changing is it's going to become kind of a mandate, which is good. And so I think you're going to see more and more. We as a recycler, the more that they have a need for it, like I believe Nestle's committed, I think like $2 billion to putting recycled content into their packaging. So that trickles down to the recycling company, like someone like Our Planet Earth that recycles content, and they're gonna have to supply Nestle's with content, right? So they need to buy it. So they're going to go out to these local municipalities that have recycling plants say, I need your content. So it's going to drive it. So we need the big companies to say, I'm changing my packaging, and they're going to drive this whole economy out to these local companies. And they're going to start baling, where they bale them into big bricks, to sell to the recyclers. They're going to start doing that. So it's kind of, it starts this whole closed loop system is what we call it for this whole recycling stream. So it's a lot of moving parts, but it starts at the big people saying, we want recycled content in our packaging. And then that'll drive the whole thing.
That's right. Let's shift gears a little bit, Janice, and talk specifically about Naturipe. You've done a great job of setting the stage with what the industry is doing and some collective movements that you're involved with. Let's talk now a little bit more about your employer. I think it goes without saying that, Naturipe is in a unique way committed to sustainability, really just in the fact that there is a director of sustainability on staff. I mean, that right there is a huge point of differentiation. It's one reason why we're showcasing the Naturipe brand for Earth Day 2020 and bringing you on as our special guest. Just educate our listeners now and speak from the heart on why sustainability is so important to Naturipe Farms and everyone that works there.
Oh, thank you. I could talk for hours about this. Sustainability. Well, first of all, Naturipe is a very innovative company, and it's innovative because all the growers and the grower families, they're individually innovative. When I visit them, I'm constantly amazed at the things that they're doing on their farms in terms of sustainability, water and electricity and everything. But when you think about it, most of these growers that I go to visit, it's been generations. They've been farming for 100 years. That's sustainable right there. How do you do that? How do you sustain a farming for hundreds of years unless you're doing it right? And so basically farming farmers are caretakers of the earth. Their factory floor is out there in front of them, and they have to maintain it. So they have to be sustainable. So it's part of their DNA. As far as the Naturipe leadership, we're owned by growers, are the growers. They're very innovative. They've been moving and trying new things, varieties. They invest in a lot of different innovative things, and they try things. And that's a difference. They're not set in their ways. Believe 2015 or 2016, we started doing top seal packaging. Now, it was a huge expense, and I have to hand it to the leadership for doing this. And now it's kind of a normal. You see a lot more berries in top seal. Top seal is basically, it's kind of like a clamshell, but doesn't have that top that opens up anymore. It peels, the top peels off plastic. And what that did was it eliminated 33% of the plastic in the package.
Wow.
So that was a huge thing for us. And it took a while to get going. Now you see it at a lot of stores. And now our competitors, are doing it, which is huge. So that's a 33% reduction in plastic just overall, which has been huge. And just one of the many things that they do. And like I said, it's been a pleasure to work in this environment for the last 15 years to I have an idea. And they're like, oh, I want to hear it. So
they're obviously they're risk takers in all the right ways as it relates to implementing your vision and ideas and strategies that relate to sustainability.
Right. And because of that, we've kind of branched out into other areas that have been doing very well, like our snacking lines. We have these new Snackers fresh berries paired with cheeses and nuts, and that's been doing so well. And
that is my favorite thing. I love everything Naturipe does, right. But for everyone listening, it's like, just add a glass of wine and get your Naturipe snack and sit down at night and chill. It is my favorite thing to treat myself in the produce department is their snack line. No, it's, I'm passionate about it, if you can't tell.
Yeah. And we have a new line coming out this summer, so we're really excited about it. So I can't wait. That's so, like I said, so that's the kind of thinking they do, and it's been great. So in terms of sustainability, we call it cultivate with care is kind of our in-house term for it. We do a lot of things besides just packaging and on-farm sustainable things. We give back to the communities that we farm in, and it's called our charitable giving fund. And we bring dental services to the children in the area, and we do school lunches. We even have days where we go pick up garbage on beaches, and we actually even brought internet to one of the towns in Chile that didn't have internet, so the kids could get online and learn. So that's part of our whole sustainability program is the communities, because you have to take care of the community in which you grow in, because they're supporting us. They're coming out and helping us harvest. So we give back. Yeah,
absolutely. No, I love that. Let's talk a little bit more about, sustainability. Obviously, I'm glad that you called out community is a big part of that. One thing that I think comes top of mind to consumers when they think about the topic of sustainability is environmental sustainability. So, in addition to the recycling and the mindfulness and innovation surrounding your packaging, what are some other ways where Naturipe is a steward to the land and the environment?
Oh, well, like I said, all of our growers do amazing things. I remember walking out on a farm, I believe it was in Florida, and they were cleaning. They set up a whole system for recycling their own water that they use and putting it in. They created a lake and it's to clean it. They used rocks. It was made like a stream and cleaned it. And they actually, I believe, even fed it into the town. So, there's some of our growers collect the water under the pots and then recycle it. Some collect it into drains and reuse it. So there's a hole for water. First of all, let me just explain that as far as water, we've been doing sustainability for about 35 years now. We started drip irrigation in the strawberry industries, over 30 years ago. And that really revolutionized sustainability in terms. So sustainability.
And drip innovation. Let's talk just briefly about drip irrigation, because with a lot of consumers listening, I mean, this is common jargon, folks, in the world of agriculture and ag marketing. But for households that don't understand what that means, it's literally, I've seen it in action. So I'll describe it, and Janice, feel free to chime in if you need me to, if you need to elaborate. Instead of think of like your backyard sprinklers that you would, put over the crops. All right. That's that. Instead of spraying from above, whether it's through booms or sprinklers or anything else, you take the water irrigation underground or like right on top of the crop. And it's the same concept as if you were to take a garden hose and just prick it with, in every yard or so with some holes. And then it's precision agriculture at that point, where you are just putting out the amount of water that the crops need, and you're putting it right into the root system. So you're using a significantly less amount of water in the farming operation. And Janice's point, to echo what she said, Naturipe certainly is among, our industry's pioneers in adopting that technology before it's become really a standard in farming like it is today.
Yeah. And to elaborate on that a little bit, it's gotten so, it's driven now by your iPad. Literally, it's so precise that they meter each plant or each furrow, which is a row, and you can see on your iPad which plants or which rows need more water. I mean, it's crazy.
Yeah,
it's very cool.
Yeah, the convergence of technology and farming is real, and it's empowered our entire industry to be more sustainable stewards. And it's a great thing to celebrate today on Earth Day. And really, what I love to tell people is, in agriculture, it's Earth Day every day. Isn't that right?
Exactly.
Yeah. So no, thanks for sharing those stories. Thanks for sharing all your passion on the show today. I want to make sure that if you have any tips for, households and consumers that are tuning into today's show, what's a call to action or some action-oriented tips that you'd like to leave consumers with today as they're listening to this show?
Sure.
How can we be better stewards of the environment in our own households?
Okay. A couple things. Urge your local recyclers to recycle. You usually get these things in the mail, say this is what's recyclable, this isn't. Urge your local recyclers to recycle other things. They may not, but they need to pay more attention to what's happening in the industry. Like for the berry clamshells, they may not know yet that berry clamshells are doing this. So you could help by just letting them know that, you heard this podcast and you can recycle clamshells. The recyclers want them. Other things that you can look for is we're a member of the How to Recycle movement, which is the logo that you see on packaging. It's black and white, and it tells you how to recycle. It also has a website where you can see who recycles what, in case you're not sure, and look for that on your packages and see. It explains what to do, because sometimes you have to take things apart, remove things, separate things. Really read those directions from the How to Recycle people. And, I just clean everything. If you ever walk out to a recycling plant, people put garbage into recycling. It should be clean. Wipe it out. Right. You don't have to wash it out. You have to use water, use a paper towel or whatever. Wipe it out and then put it in your recycle bin so it's cleaner, because those people are sorting by hand. There's people there. It's not done by machines. There's people touching the stuff. And then finally, what I want to mention with this whole coronavirus outbreak, which is absolutely horrendous. One of the things I've noticed in my personal life is food waste. I've been using everything I buy, and I think that's something we had lost through the years. And that's a big polluter in the environment, is the gases from the landfills that have all this food waste in it. So maybe in the future, that's one thing that we can take away from this whole thing, is that food is very important, and maybe try to figure out how you can use every single thing every single day and not put anything in the garbage. Or you can always compost. Yeah.
That's right. No, I love it. Janice, this has been just a heartwarming episode. It's great to bring your expertise to our audience. And, for everyone that tuned in today, you've really now had the opportunity to meet a woman who has leveled me up as a professional as it relates to my understanding of sustainability, as well as the responsibility that my business has in rallying the general population around the concept of sustainability. So Janice has an important role in what we do at the Produce Moms, and certainly Naturipe Farms is a dear brand partner in our effort, and we feel very blessed to work with Janice and her entire team at Naturipe. So, Janice, that being said, thank you so much for being our guest. The tradition is you get the final word and the last goodbye. I'll remind everyone, Naturipe Farms, their website is naturipefarms.com. That's NATURIPE farms.com. And Janice, please sign us off.
Oh, thank you very much, Lori. It's been an honor to be here today. I appreciate the audience. Eating berries, eat more berries, keep it going. Our farmers need you to keep buying their berries. They're good for you, and take care of the earth.
Thanks for joining us on this episode of the Produce Moms podcast. If you or someone you know would like to be a featured guest, just send an email to lori@theproducemoms.com. We know there is a produce mom in you because there's a produce mom in all of us. Join our community on Facebook and all social platforms. Help us change the way America eats. Thanks again for listening, and we'll see you next time.